All right, Shalom. So before I get going, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Heavenly Father in the name of His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Wahakadash Rakah. Double honors to the elders over at the Great Millstone who rule well, Shalom. And also Shalom to all the elders of the Israelite nation who rule well and are teaching the true doctrine of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai in all sincerity. Shalom, Wabarakim, that's peace and blessings to the hopeful elect men of the Israelite nation, teaching His truth out in the four corners of the earth where we have been scattered. And also Shalom to the rest of the 1/3 men, women, and children of the Israelite nation who have forsaken this world and have come back to their true heritage. All right. So before I get going into the lesson, this message is specifically to you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native American Indian people. All right. Those are all, in fact, my words, and you are truly the people of the book. You are the Israelites. All right. And this book is ultimately your book of history, your history book. These books, these names in this book, those are your ancestors. All right. So this is your book of history, and very importantly, your book of heritage. This book is your heritage. All right. You being Israelites, and most importantly, this is a book of instruction. Right. It shows you how to actually obtain the benefits of being an Israelite, which is to be God's chosen people above all people and all nations of the earth. All right. So those of you who want to obtain, come back to your true heritage, man. Those of you of the Israelite nation, that is. So we go get into the lesson, and this lesson is ultimately very simple. It's a very simple topic. And it's going to be called "Keep Up or Get Left Behind." All right. So keeping up, when you keep up with something, that means you're able to pretty much stay up to date, up to speed. All right. And that's a good way to put it, because once you have forsaken this world and have come back to your true heritage, all right, meaning you put off your old man and you're truly in this thing. You know, you got the knowledge, you know what's going on, and you are at this point enduring, actually walking within the truth and living like an Israelite again. Ultimately, you have entered yourself into a race. You're in a race at this point. All right. So the race isn't it isn't a quick race. It's not a sprint. It's not a fast race. It's not the 100 or 200. All right. Usain Bolt's not going to win this race by being fast. You see, it's not about being fast. All right. But it's a long distance race. It's a marathon, if you will. This point is being that you have to keep up in this race, just because it is a long distance race. Because if you don't keep up in a long distance race, the distance is long. The further you don't keep up, the further you're going to be left behind. And in this world, with us being so far behind already, you don't have time to be spending any more time behind. All right. You grew up probably not knowing your true heritage, not knowing who you are, calling yourself black. Well, you got to catch up. And this book always been around, but you probably never use it into your adult life for most of you. All right. So we don't have any time to be left behind. So therefore we have to keep up. And again, to the point with this thing being a long distance race and not a sprint. All right. We go to Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 11. So as I said, this thing isn't it's not a sprint, and that's also what King Solomon realized here in Ecclesiastes 9:11. He said, "I returned and saw under the sun, right, that the race is not to the swift." All right. So this race is not to the swift, and this race is ultimately your life. All right. It should be your life as the truth. The truth is your life. And that race that you're in now is not to the swift. All right. In the world, the race might be to the swift. The first person to do it, the first person to get it done. And it's however they get it done. As I said, Usain Bolt's not going to win this race off of his speed. All right. So it's not about learning everything and just being able to spit it out, being a parrot, if you will. It's not about learning 100 scriptures. I know 100 scriptures. Well, do you understand what they mean? And on top of that, do you understand and can you actually apply them to the life? Are you applying them to your life? You see? So it's not about just getting everything right now. It's good if you're actually able to, but that's not what it's about. It's about getting things done in the correct manner that they should be done. That's why it's not to the swift. In the scriptures, it says eat the roll, right? When you eating, and you're not paying attention to the details, because there's nuances to eating. When it says eat, most people just think of eat and it's in your stomach, but when you're eating, you actually taking stuff in. So when I eat, I might, if I have a chicken breast, I'm not just going to swallow it whole. I'm probably going to cut it up, and I gotta put it in my mouth and chew it. You see, I have to chew it, which takes time. So it's to this taking in the understanding is the same way. You might hear it, you might read something, but you have to take it into your mind. You have to meditate on it, aka break it down, right? And when you're chewing, that's what you're doing. You're breaking it down so you can get all the nutrients out of it. Meditating is getting all of the understanding out of it, truly being able to realize what it's saying. And that's a process which takes time. And then you swallow it. You know, this whole digestion takes time. When you eat something, you don't digest it right away. It's a process. So it's also a process to you eating these words and getting these words. And you don't do so quick. You might eat so quick that you get sick. You see, and a lot of people do that. They want to eat this so quick that they get sick, you know, and it becomes overwhelming. And it's because you ultimately don't understand what it is you're saying. You know all of these scriptures, but you don't apply them. So they're not helping you. So this race is not to the swift. It's to those who are going to take the time to eat, chew, absorb, digest, you know, and continue on doing so in a manner that's healthy and that's going to actually help sustain your life. Because we're saying race, but ultimately this race is your life, you know, and your life is leading to a certain place. And that's what this lesson is all about. You not getting left behind. And the way that you get left behind is by moving too fast. In this case, because if you take off in a long distance race and you sprint the 100 fast as you can, you're gonna be burnt out quick, man. You're gonna be burnt out and you're gonna get left behind because you're gonna be on your knees while everybody who understood the race, took the time to understand what's going on, they took off slow. They took off in pace. I'm gonna get this here. I'm gonna make these little adjustments now. You see? So it's not about getting burnt out, moving quick, trying to be something you're not, trying to look like you're something you're not. It's not about being on camera. It's not about bringing out 1,000 scriptures. It's about being right, being correct, and in tune with the true doctrine of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right? So this race is not to the swift. All right, so we go hop here in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. And it reads, know ye not? Yeah, it's a lot. It says, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, right? So this is something to consider. And this proposes a question. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all? So everyone who has forsaken this world and have come back to the true heritage of the Israelite nation, they're in this race. We're all in this race together, man. Everybody's running this race. We're running all. It says, but one receiveth the prize. You know, and that's the question that's proposed. Everybody's running. Everybody's in this race. Everybody's running, but only one's going to get the prize. You know, so what does that mean? That one is going to get the prize is who actually is going to make it through this race. And to give some details to the race, I said it's not a sprint, so it's not the 100, it's not the 200. I said it's more likened into a long distance or a marathon, but we don't know the distance. You know, the Lord hasn't revealed how long this race is for us. You know, we entered the race not knowing that. Actually, we knew that we didn't know the distance, those who actually entered the race properly. So with that understanding, those who didn't just run into the race and just like, I'm about to do this, they got the understanding first. They was like, well, I don't know how long this race is, so, you know, I got to be prepared for everything that comes. You see? but one receiveth the prize. And that one here is not just talking about one person. It's not going to be just one person. It's going to be one mindset. Just like there's one truth, there's one doctrine, there's one Lord, one Heavenly Father, one Yahweh Shai, you see, and there's one mind type or mindset, that's actually going to receive the prize, that's actually going to go on to see through the race, that's actually going to go on and actually be able to achieve the whole purpose of the race, to actually endure throughout the race, to not get left behind, you see, because when you get left behind in a long distance race, you get so far behind, you might get discouraged. You probably won't make it through. It says, so run that ye may obtain. So this is the instruction here. You propose the question, some food for thought, some understanding. Know ye not that they which run in the race run all. We're all in this race running, but one receiveth the prize. We understand that it's going to be a certain mindset that's actually going to make it to the end of this race, who actually is going to endure through this race. And it says, so run that ye may obtain. So it's a way that you must run to actually obtain, meaning you have to make adjustments as you're running, because you're only running while you're in the race. When you make it to the finish line, you're not running no more. So in the depths of you running, that's when you need to be making your adjustments. You need to be applying your knowledge, showing that you understand. That's how you actually are going to obtain what comes with this race. And what we want out of this race is what? We want to obtain the kingdom of heaven. We want to obtain life, man. We want to obtain reality, true life. You see, all these things are within the kingdom of heaven. So the way we run, aka living our life, is to obtain, aka understanding these scriptures in the correct manner and actually doing so, making adjustments, looking around. This brother might drop a video and it might help you in this way. This brother might drop a video. You might be like, well, I need to stay away from doing that because that looks off. All these things are going to help you, but the way that you run it is actually going to help you attain, That's how you're actually going to obtain, by running correctly. That's why I say, so run that you may obtain. Because if you're running, it's all about your footing. When you're running, it's literally about how your footing is. The second you lose footing in a race, you on your tail, man. You done fell. And once you fall in the race, what happens? The race keeps going. The race not going to stop for you. So if you fall down, you got to get back up, and you got to run that you may obtain. You have to get back up and run the right way. And if you're not doing so, you're not going to obtain. It's that simple. The moment you lose your foot in the race, you're putting yourself behind. And we don't have time to be behind in this world because we're already behind. We don't know who we are. We got to figure all these things out. We're just figuring out as adults that we've been Israel this whole time. These books been here this whole time, but we're just understanding these things. So us as an Israelite nation, we don't have time to be getting even further behind. It's about obtaining and moving forward constantly. That's what this race is about. You see? So run that you may obtain. All right, so we go hop here to James chapter 1 and verse 12. And it says, blessed is the man that endureth temptation. You see, and that's what this race is going to come with, all types of temptations. And you have to endure those things. And here in Google, I got the word endure pulled up. Endure. It says suffer something painful or difficult patiently. You see, so in a race, you have to suffer the race. Because throughout the race, you have to run. Once you start the race, you're in it. You have to actually make it through. So you have to suffer any uncomfortability, right? Any thing going on in your shoe, you got to rock in your shoe. Well, I got to suffer that because I got to run this race. I got to run this race. My knee hurting. I got an ache. I got a pain. Oh, I got to keep running because I got to finish the race. You see? My shoulders start hurting. I got to endure that because it's painful, right? Something painful or difficult. And this is a long race. But you have to do so patiently, meaning you have to actually suffer the race, stay in it. I can't get this rock out right now, so I got to patiently deal with this. And remember, this race is your life. Your life so you can actually go about it the right way, so you actually can enter into the kingdom of heaven. So you have to suffer all these little things in life, aka those temptations. You have to suffer the world mocking you. You have to suffer you actually knowing what's going on, becoming bitter to this world. You see, suffering inside this world, being a so-called black person. All of you nations, everyone who's an Israelite, you have to suffer and endure through this race because we know what the prize is. So with that, we're going to endure. And this is perfect. Number 2 right here is perfect for the lesson. It says to remain in existence or last. You see, so if you don't remain in existence, that means you dropped out the race. AKA, you probably went back into the world. Or when you fell, you didn't get back up. You see? You didn't remain in existence. To be in existence, you have to be, with the group. You know what I'm saying? This group is all running in this marathon. And there's going to be some people who's going to be in different positions. Some brothers, they've been in for 20 years. Some brothers, they've been in for a day, a week, 1 year, 5 years. Everybody's in different positions, but that don't mean that you can't obtain those other positions, because that brother that been in for 10 years might move slower than the brother that been in for 1 year. And that brother that been in for 1 year might catch up, and vice versa. All these things are just different counters. So it's not to put a box around any brother. It's just saying these things are happening. But the whole point when you're enduring is just to remain in existence. I mean, you have to just keep up. And that's all it is. You got to keep up. And if you're not doing that, you're going to get left behind. And it just says last. Who's going to last? It's not saying that you got to be the front runner the whole time. It just says you have to last. You have to endure this race. And this race, again, is amongst the brothers. So you should be able to look around and get help. Because we're in this thing together. Those of us who are on the right mindset, the same one mindset is going to actually go on to win this race. So back to the scriptures. James chapter 1 and 12. Blessed is the man that endured temptation. We enduring through all of the temptations of this world. Anything the devil throws at us, we're enduring through it. The world offers everything that, people in the world want. Well, we go to contract, you can go make all this money. No, I'm enduring that temptation because I know it's fake. I know nothing in this world can offer me is worth anything. Those temptations are what you must endure. It says, for when he is tried, just like gold is tried. And us men, we're likening it to gold in the scriptures. When that gold is tried, it's put through a burning process or an acid process where it's burning off the impurities, which is part of our walk, part of our running, that adjustment, getting rid of your old man and becoming who you truly are. Because through that process of gold being burnt, only the real is going to make it through. And if it's not real, it's going to be burnt off. That gold might get melted down, aka suffering, aka enduring, because it's going to endure that process of it being burnt. It might be melted down and out of shape. But when it solidifies and it's make it through that process, it's gold. Because gold is incorruptible, meaning it can't be burnt down. It can't be destroyed. It's going to make it through that fire. For when he is tried, talking about you, your life, you being likened unto gold, all of the trials and tribulations, that fire that you're going through, that furnace of affliction that we're in, it says he shall receive the crown of life. And that crown of life is the kingdom. You see? And what is a crown made out of usually? Gold. You're going to receive that crown of life. That's what you're going to get in the kingdom. You're going to get reality. You're going to get never-ending life. You're going to get all the desires of your heart just by enduring and keeping it up with the commandments of the Lord. It said, and that's what this says, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. And the scripture says, if you love me, keep my commandments. That's what love is. Keeping the Lord's commandments. All right? So follow his instructions so you don't get left behind. Because this lesson is about keeping up so you don't get left behind. Keeping up is just you being able to stay in the race. You enduring this race. You being able to take this and apply it to your life and do it the right way. Not doing it speedily, not trying to impress men, not doing it for malicious purposes, meaning you actually getting this thing and you're actually able to use these scriptures to allow you to endure, for you to come up in this world, come up in this life. All right, so we're going to hop here to James chapter 5. We start at verse 10. And And it says, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord. You see, they spoke in the name of the Lord, meaning they were keeping the Lord's commandments and living. It says, for an example. Whenever you think about the prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Micah, Malachi, Zephaniah, Zechariah, Hosea, so on and so forth. All of these prophets, they had messages that came to them through the Lord, and they were said that they're prophets, meaning they said things before they happened. They had to endure the time as they said something and actually see through that what they said actually went on to happen because they was the words of the Lord. It says, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering affliction. You see, there are examples to take. When you actually read about them, you can see the details of what they did, and you can apply that to your life if need be, to actually suffer through the affliction. And it says, and of patience, because it takes patience. And once you look into that, an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience, that lines directly up with enduring. So look at the prophets for your understanding of enduring. Endure. Suffer something painful or difficult patiently. Remain in existence. You know, they remain in existence. Even their words remain in existence to this day. You see? So that's who we look for. We look at these prophets to look at the scriptures for advice, for direction, for instruction on how to endure this race. So you actually have to know what's going on in this correct understanding. And we'll close out here, verse 11. It says, behold, we count them happy which endure, right? We count them happy who are able to keep up with this race. We're actually going to see that finish line. We're actually going to go on to get that crown of life, to take the kingdom, to be in the kingdom. All right. Behold, we count them happy which endure, which patiently survive through the, Salakia, to suffer something painful patiently. You see, those who are going to be happy. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, his endurance, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy, because the Lord has mercy on us and he actually wants us to endure. But he's going to put us through a trial to make sure that we come out and we're right and that we're true and that we're real. So I'm going to just say, Lord willing, this was edifying. Again, keep up or you're going to get left behind. All right. So with that said, Lord willing, it's edifying. Shalom.